All right, Daniel, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
As we look at 2021, we're starting the year on a really strong note. What are your expectations for the high yield bond market in Asia this year?
Sure. If we just look purely at redemptions, Morgan, we estimate that we'll see about a 35% increase in redemptions for the year in terms of bonds maturing. So versus 2020. So right off the bat, we're hoping that we'll see at least a 35% increase in issuance volume year on year. Obviously, 2020 versus 2019 was down around that 35%. So net, hopefully we're at that 2019 level in terms of bond issuance in the high yield markets this year.
It seems like already we're starting off with a lot of that coming from China property. Is that going to lead the way again in 2021, or could we see other areas step up?
I think we'll still see that the China CRE sector is really going to take the lead in terms of issuance. They've always been a majority of the issuance in terms of total high yield issuance, and that will be the case again this year. Hopefully, we'll start to see a little bit of more issuance from Southeast Asia. Um, we did see, for example, Tower Bersamas in the market today, and hopefully we'll continue to see more and more issuers from Indonesia, India, and hopefully some of the other countries in Southeast Asia also come out to the high yield markets this year.
What have been some of the challenges for those other issuers as they look to come internationally? Is there anything keeping them back?
I think the main reason is when you just look at issuance levels, which is for the repeat issuers really based on secondary levels. The secondary levels of some of the bonds issued from Southeast Asian corporates really haven't recovered as quickly as some of the China CRE names. So obviously, when these issuers compare the funding costs versus the loan market or their domestic market, the offshore dollar bond market looks a little bit expensive. Now, I think now that has, retreated a little bit for some of the issuers, so it's kind of helped justify the re-entrance into the dollar markets, as we see with Tower Sama, as we've seen with some of the Indian corporates, and hopefully we'll see a bit more going forward in the year.
Is the investor appetite there for these names? Are investors steering away from any particular parts of the high yield market?
When you talk about high yield, I think there's obviously a bifurcation. When you look at the China CRE market, the frequent borrowers, the blue chip type of high yield issuers within CRE will always get a deal done. Well known to the investor base, et cetera. I think again, when it comes to names from other countries or other sectors, it really will come down to transparency, which issuers have issued in the past, corporate governance, who's being very transparent with the investor base, et cetera. So I think there'll also be a bifurcation in terms of issuers from Southeast Asia, of those that can actually tap the offshore markets and those who can't.
Are there any regulatory challenges for these issuers? I know we touched today on the three red lines in China,
Yeah,
the price cap coming out of India. It sounds like there's
yeah.
also some hurdles in those regards.
Yeah, I mean, for India, we talked about the RBI cap. That has been an issue in 2020. Now, given the positive movement in levels for some of the issuers, that's no longer an issue. So we've seen, the likes of Renew, et cetera, come out to the market. In terms of other jurisdictions, nothing on the regulatory side. I think it's really purely um, whether or not the levels make sense vis-a-vis their other funding options.
Excellent. And what do you think will be some of the themes that we'll see this year for high yield issuance?
I think the major theme will be ESG. We've seen a strong desire by especially the China CRE names to look at the ESG space, mainly the green. It's a topic of every one of our discussions. Whether it be from the bank side or the issuer side. Green is definitely on the top of the agenda. So I think we'll definitely see an increase in issuance in the ESG space. Of course, from the China CRE space, given that's just by volume the largest market in the high yield space, but a lot of our other corporate clients in India, Indonesia, et cetera, are also all looking at this space as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Morgan.